G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today, oh boy, today we are looking at Legacy Titan class Nemesis. And boy, oh boy, this is going to be fun trying to record and transform. As you can see, she is currently leaning on top of one of my step shelves, just simply so you can actually see how she looks when she's all extended and whatnot. I will point out that there are a few parts that you will have to connect and whatnot, which are these both sides of these wings, and you will need to. Which one is it? I believe it's this one. I think it was that one. Just trying to think. Yeah, I think it was this tail fin. Also comes separately. You'll have to attach that. I'll point it out for sure when we get to it. There is some accessories. You get a sprue, if you can see, with some Decepticon Seekers on it. I haven't taken them off, excuse me, because I'd rather not lose them. But while I'm going that, all these guns here, there's two here, one on the other side, and this piece all come separate as well, but these are on the sprue. And the idea with the Seekers, you flip up this piece here, and if I get my nail in there, come on. You have this piece that slides over both sides. I'll try to bring that in. I'll tell you what, we've already seen how she's looking for that, so we'll get rid of that for the time being. So we can actually see certain things. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll show you the alternative way to display this. You split this in half, if I can get it, like so, and that creates a more, sorry about that, that was probably all over the place, a flat stand. So if you want to display her so she's flat, but of course that means you lose that, but you have these pieces here, there's ports on here, which is what goes these onto. You can see these holes. I don't feel they're probably deep enough, but I have a feeling these would just get caught in here, so I'm not putting them on. I'd rather not them get stuck in there, like so. These also get attached, which can be detached for weapons later on, which I will say for most, excuse me, I got her for her display mode, her ship mode. I have no interest in displaying her in robot mode, so I'll just point that out. Also, I have a little bit of wear and tear on these pieces. I'll probably show you why, because they have a tendency to pop off. But she does look very, very pretty. Unfortunately, no blast effects. There's no blast effects in the box, so unless you've got some blast effects somewhere, then that's how you're going to go. Yeah, it was down here, because that all splits off here. Otherwise, that wouldn't work. Excuse me. So yeah, the bottom one is the one that comes off. You can, of course, I suppose, if you want to, I was going to say, probably flip that up more. A lot of this, there's more than a few things on her that pops off. So just beware of that. So, like I said, all these guns come on sprues, on the sprue, what do you want to call it, the runner. And of course, this piece is separate. So it's up to you how you want to display it and whatnot. There are various ports and things here, I suppose, there. These back here, I suppose, which you could put part effects on, but mine are all put away. So, yeah. Also, I've kind of scratched her nose a little bit. So, there we go. So, let's do... Actually, we can do one of her size comparisons from here. And once again, obviously this would make it way taller. So, just be aware of that. But... there she is with Windblade. Windblade probably would be, I don't know, a decent sized cruiser next to her. But obviously she's meant to be like this big. So, well, there's the Seekers. So obviously she should be that by size comparison. But that's up to you if you find that a negative or not. one more size comparison, which will require me to move the camera, since I'm going to end up doing this standing up. So we can hold that back into place, so we can actually do a decent comparison. Hopefully I've got enough room. I'm probably going to push back a little further. This is why one of these days I'm going to have to get a proper camera instead of my phone. But here she is. Hopefully I can see it. With Kingdom Arc. So she is a lot taller. He is obviously a fair bit wider, probably a bit less wider. Ironically, the transformation isn't that much different. It's just a bit, but there is a lot of similarity between the two. So, yeah, she is obviously much taller than he is. And we'll bring the last two size comparisons in afterwards, which we'll do for robot mode. So, let's get her transformed. And I don't know how this is going to go because I can't see my camera half the time, especially when I do these things. So I'll try to keep an eye on it. So what we're going to do first, and this is, I'm tempted to glue these pieces, but there's this piece here, which is what I was pointing out. You need to get them separated. Where are we? And it has a good possibility to pop off if you use just a little too much force. I think that one's going to do. There we go. It's like trying to crack an egg without cracking an egg. I beg your pardon. All right. So next we are going to get all this split down the middle, and it's just a matter of trying to get things split. Try to come around here, get some of this split. Chances are you're going to pop those arms off, which technically we shouldn't have got to yet, but still. It's just a matter of trying to get all that split as far as it goes, and you want to basically, one second, excuse me. Figured I'd clear my throat so I didn't have to keep coughing in your ears. So we need to extend this out and down. So the shoulder joint is in here. All this has to sort of flatten. There's a slight curve in here, so you want to bring that out, and that one's locked in. So it's just sort of a clunk in. And we want to do it on the other side. Once again, I've got the arm instead. It is a little tight, and I'm waiting for something to pop off. But once you got it, you got it. Come on. Where am I stuck? The shoulders are very tight. Come on. Oh, there goes the front of the nose cone. Gotcha. Alright. That can go back for the time being, because we don't need it yet. Alright, so that's gone in, so that's good. And I'm just going to straighten our arms back up and plug these pieces back in yet, because we don't need them. Not yet anyway. Alright. So once you've got that all split, God, my throat. Sorry, I really need to just stop. Anyway, all right. So what we want to do is we want to spin all this around from here, so that most of this is on here. So just might have to move the arms a little bit, but just spin that all the way around. So eventually, basically, this is a bit flatter on the back here. So now this is once again the piece. So the one that has the no Decepticon logo on it is the one that you have to attach. All right. A little prematurely, but we're going to do the face reveal. We're going to bring this down for the time being. We're going to just pull back this tower And we're going to flip up the head. And we're not going to worry about tabbing that in yet because eventually the shoulders will probably mess with me again anyway. But there is a tab here, which is going to go into a gap in here. So just slide that in and should basically just sit there. It won't lock in, it'll just sit there. All right. So we will do, might as well do the legs, so that way we can worry about the arms last. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come down for starters. So hopefully, eventually I'm going to have to go back up again a bit anyway, so I might be able to sit down for a little bit. All right, so we have these pieces here on both sides. They're going to tab in either side. You want to flip all this around. Just sort of pull out and spin. My arm's in the way. And that will just sort of sit back in place. So spin and in place like so. All right. So what we're going to do is we need to split all this on both sides. So we might as well do this side because this is our backpack piece. So we're going to lift all this up. So this is all plugged in. Just sort of give it a slight pull and hopefully don't pull everything else off. There we go. By the way, I don't know if you can show it, but in here is basically where you have to tab it all in. So that's going to come up, out, spin, and down. So there's a, I don't know if I can show it, sort of a groove in here, which is where this is going to go in, and that is going to clip on the back there. So try to find a good place of putting it. That goes there, and come on. You gonna slide down for me, or am I doing it wrong? No, I'm doing it right. It's just a matter of getting that in place. Oh, there we go. Nope, not quite. Try that again. Oh, I'm gonna pop something else off in a minute. Try this again. Yeah. And there you go. There's the port piece. So slide that back on there. It's very easy to do. Try to get that back lined up, and I don't know why that's not going on. Sort of a slide and it's sort of isn't. So I might just detach that a little bit. Just try to get it over the groove. This was perfectly fine earlier when I tried doing this. Come on. It's like the... Why aren't you going where I want you to? That goes there. This comes up. That's just flat against the back. Gotcha! Alright, I probably missed most of that, so I apologize. But, yeah, so that's plugged into there, and I think, yep, she's leaning forward a bit. I've moved her hips. So we'll straighten that up a bit, and we'll deal with this piece later, just when we do the leg, do the upper body. Finish the arms, that's the word I'm looking for. Alright, so now's the fun part. We are going to split this however you want, just down the middle. You're going to split this, and this is once again where some of the difficulty comes in, because the knee joints are in here. So, or there should be down here somewhere. Sort of. So all this is going to have to come down. So as long as things are split, if you open up, you have the feet. Just give them one click out, and then try to pull that out, and that will unsecure the hip. And then, whoops, that'll go into here. And drop the foot. You're going to flip all this in, so it'll go behind the leg, sort of locking that in place. Flatten that out, bring this back. You're going to, rotate foot all the way around so it's in line with this. And you're going to, let's see how I can put this. So I think part of my hip has moved during the transformation. Kinda. Yeah. So either way. All right, so we've got this piece here. I don't know if you can see it. Try my best. This is going to sort of line up with here. So, oh, hang on, other way around because our leg's backwards. So we're going to spin that around. So we have these pieces where the screws are. And we'll straighten the leg out for the time being. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So wish me luck. So we're going to bring that out a little bit. Bring down the foot a little bit. Bring all this out so that the knee goes in the groove. We'll flatten out the foot so we've got some positioning. Alright, so flat. You're going to wrap this around until that goes in the groove and flatten that out like so. Bring this around until it stops. You're then going to spin the thigh until you have these big details where the screws are. And we'll straighten those legs out a bit. My foot is in the wrong spot. So I'm going to rotate that around the right way. And then what we're going to do is we need to rotate. Oops. Why are you loosening? Don't tell me that. Don't do that. Okay, I think I got it. Sorry about that. I might need to dig out my spare camera stand. All right, so we need to rotate all this around. Beware of your guns here. So we need to rotate it down here. Before we rotated it up here, now we're going to rotate it down here. So that way, providing the backpack doesn't get in the way, that will get your crutch piece and your torso in the proper alignment. And you can bring the legs together a little bit. I'm just looking at the back of my other one. I don't think I have it quite flush. Yeah, my right leg's not quite firing enough. There we go. Okay, we're almost done with the legs. So, move the camera for a quick moment. All right, then we have these pieces, which can come into another use later on. But you have these pegs here, these ports here. So when you split them, this is going to rotate over to this side. It should line up, hopefully. Doesn't really go clap, click. Oh, there's one of your pieces falling off. It will happen. Like that. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of an A stance. So that way her shins don't smack against each other. Split. Tab, tab. That one tabbed in a little better. Alright. We're on the home stretch. Oh, this one I'm going to have to stand up for. So, lift the camera all the way up without pulling it out of my tripod. I'll go up a little bit higher. I've got like 3 knobs. And unfortunately, I don't quite know where each knob stops. Alright, so let's deal with the arms. So, as you saw when I first got it, you're going to unplug here and bring this down. That makes you your elbow, but these pieces will get in your way. They're more likely going to pop off, as I said. Alright, so what we're going to do is, there's a window on this side, which I just popped out. You're going to pop that out, and you're going to rotate the fist as far as it'll go, wrist, and then you're going to spin the wrist itself, which you didn't see any of that. I apologize. Try that again. So, I don't even know why you're not moving. So, that basically spins out of there, and as far as it'll go. You may have to alter the position to get the hand where it's supposed to go, and then that just closes up. So better shot of the other one. Bring this down, find a tab, spin her around, find the right spot so there's plenty of clearance to get that hand around and close that up. And of course then you can fiddle with the fingers as you will. Okay, nearly there. We're going to come back around to the back. We're going to split this in half, and that's just going to flare out. Gives her a sort of a Caper Wrath sort of situation. You're going to come in here, you're going to pull out, which reveals her Decepticon logo and fills out her chest a little bit. Kinda. You're going to flip out these two pieces a little bit, and then you're going to come under here, and you're going to want to lift this piece here, not this, just the upper crest. So right now she's looking like Daethstro, or here's another good example. I want to say Tarn, but not really. Mostly Daethstro. And then you basically want to try and get your finger in there and flip that up, and that gives you. Now she has eyes. And there she is. And I think my shoulders have partly untabbed. One side looks like it has. Yep. There we go. This is slightly showing off also issues with her articulation. There we go. Also, while I'm thinking of it, here is the actual slider for those flyers. So if you are having trouble getting them out from here, you can pull the arm down and you will actually get access to the switch. So there we go. And boy oh boy, I will not lie. If I can even get a decent shot of her. I will not lie, because I'm going to sit down for a second. I'm not a huge fan of her robot mode. I don't even care. I just realised I had part of her chest shut again. I don't care if this was a male bot or what. Her proportions are... Oh, that's what I haven't even done yet. You can lock her head down, slide it back a bit, and this will cause issues later. But yeah, that sort of locks these into place, but not really. I don't like her. Like, I didn't like the proportions of Ark's waist. I don't like the proportions of her torso. The arms are alright, although the shoulders need a bit more articulation. The shins, for the most part, are alright, even though half of the knee is hidden. She's basically got a Combiner Wars Devastator knee. So instead of the knee being down here, her knee's up here. So she's got practically no thigh. Articulation is not too bad, but you can't even get... Actually, I'll get to that in a minute, but you basically can't get a flat arm. It's got to be angled. Typewriter fingers, I'm not even worried about. You know, I prefer typewriter fingers about probably 85% of the time. But the shuttle mode's fine. I think I've said the word before and now I've forgotten it. The proportions just don't work. They really don't work. Like, I've heard people describe her as a sea witch, basically. So, fine, if that's the way you want to go about it. But I found that the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Trypticon made better sense as the Decepticon battlecruiser than she does. So, yeah. I don't like her proportions. The head's fine. I like the head, although I thought it actually had a mouth. And it does give me sort of animated vibes. The shoulders are limited. The colors are all right. I'll say something nice. The colors are nice. I do like the colors: the pinks, the purple, the red, the grey, the dark, well, the dark grey. It looks nice. I just do not like the proportions. The shins are too huge. The shoulders are too small. The torso is non-existent. The head's nice, but that's about it. So, but what can you do? The Nemesis isn't very wide to begin with. So you couldn't exactly make her thicker in the torso. Otherwise, she would end up she'd lose room to be able to compact things. That's the only downside. So, as I said, I bought her for her ship mode. I didn't buy her for her robot mode. But yeah. So let's try and do articulation. Head can kind of do a full 360. You can look up way high. You can not really look down. And she doesn't do side. Oh, she does do side to side. More so on one than the other. Okay. So you can get full 360, although the backpack gets in the way. So you're going to have to compress that to make room for the arms, even though that's starting to get places. The arm only goes out as far as it'll go. It can go in, but then your forearm is going to impact your shins. And at the same time, if you try to lift this up more, you're going to untab this, which is sitting where the head is holding it in place. So if you try to get her arms even out wider, it's not going to happen. You have bicep rotation. You have double jointed elbow that gets you pretty much closed. But like I said, you can't really... Oh, you can actually straighten her arm more than I thought it could be. Honestly, I thought she was more stuck at sort of the angled pose. But no, so she's got an elbow joint here and she's got an elbow joint here. So you can get a lot more flatter look than I actually thought you could get. At the same time, you've got nowhere to put these. They do go in and out a little bit, but they will pop off. Beg my pardon. You have wrist rotation, which is hindered by... I'm literally looking to make sure the camera's never swapped. Hindered by here. So if you want this, you're literally going to have to, and I don't even know if I can do it. But then again, I said there was no... No, you cannot do this. You cannot rotate the hand any further because of the piece down here. So you can get that, but you can't get that. If that actually, this doesn't help you at all. We do have single jointed typewriter knuckle for the thumb, and all our three, not four, three fingers have one pin there. Okay. We have rotated waist, which is nice. I'm trying to figure out how I'm doing this. Should have just left that where it was. I'll lift this up around. Alright, we have... Can you actually see? Yep, I hope. We have leg out pretty high. Ratchet. We have leg way high kick. So way high kick. And we have, if I move that hip out a little bit, legs can go up pretty high. Back. Although things are starting to untab on her shins. I think part of that's just untapped. So we have ratchet waist swivel, or thigh swivel, if you want to call it that. We have knee bend, that gets you that far. If I hold it like this, we get toe forward, not really, a little bit toe back, not really. We do get a slight ankle tilt, and we get a rotation, if that helps. Now to try and get her back. nice and thingy. I think she's leaning back a little bit, and I've compressed that. The one thing, you need a tight waist, but at the same time, you need, it does hinder, I think, dragging it a little bit, trying to find that ratchet. Get that back out. Obviously, these turn if you want them to. There's guns on the back of her shoulders if you want to use them. So there we go. All right, final size comparisons. I'm going to do this in one go because why the hell not? So we'll move her over the best we can. I'll angle her head so we can actually, looks like she's looking at, I just kicked my toe. Here she is with Titan's Return Fort Max. So she is even, except for basically the edges of the top of her shoulders. He's still bigger, even from the top of his head. And more of a laugh than anything. MP10. As you can see, comes up to basically the top of her shins. So there we go. All right, so we have got a couple of accessories more that we have to go into, even though I will have to pull some things apart. All right, so we have these pieces that I unplugged one earlier, which is this. We can use that for an axe, and she has a tab on the inside of her hand, and that can fit into any of the side ports on the side. And voila, she's holding it. For some reason, the box calls it, what was it, Evo Fusion? I don't get it, so I take that for what it's worth. I'm guessing it's got something to do with the racing line that they did a while ago, so take that for what that's worth. Just put that back. And one that's a little bit more fiddly, and hopefully this will work well. You're going to unplug the shins. This just sort of pulls it off. Now it's falling a bit. There we go. Get all my tabs back. Put them all back together. And then you can flatten these out. I think it's this way. Yep. Apparently, and you can somehow get your finger in there, unplug that, and what you're going to do, I'm literally looking at the box. Is there another piece here? Oh, there is another piece. You're going to flip this down, straighten it up a bit, and then you have a gun barrel. And that, once again, will fit into the back of the hand, a bit of a sort of MP style. Just wrap those around. And now she has a gun that she's having a lot of trouble holding. So her elbow's not quite strong enough to actually hold the gun. Might have to tighten that. I might have to tighten that a little bit, but yeah. Either way, so you can have that as a gun. I'm literally looking at the picture to see if there's anything that it really changes. Oh, you can fold those down to give it more of a flat line, so it's some sort of rail gun thingamajiggy. And then, of course, you can just fold that back in, fold that back up. As you can see, here's the connection point. So I think eventually this will potentially break. So I'm very hesitant about that. And then just clip that back on and bring this up because it's going to have to go out and flare that out, providing you don't unpeg things. And now her legs back the way it was supposed to be. Okay, let's get her back into ship mode, which is the way I prefer to keep her, as I've said several times now. So you're going to flip this down, push her cheek pieces in so it just all lines up. Didn't see any of that, I apologize. So push this down, push these in, push those in. We might as well. I will say that there's one thing that I do like about the arc more than this is that the legs are in less pieces. So flip in the thumb, flip in the fingers, if you saw any of that. God, I'm not looking forward to doing my other combiners. Right, slide that out, slide this in a bit. You're going to rotate. Come on. Where are you? There we go. Let's rotate that. We're going to slide in. No, other way. I think. Yeah, slide in the other way. So that all slides in. That will close up. And do the same on the other side. Close, close, open. Bring this in a bit just so you can attempt to get those hands around. Rotate that in and close. All right. Oh, my back. We're going to flip this up, and that's just going to plug into there, even though it probably won't stay that way. Flip this up and plug that into there, and that probably won't stay that way either. We're going to flip the head forward, and we're going to lift up. Like I said, these sat on here, but they don't really lock in. All right, we're going to rotate the thighs, the hips. So hopefully that'll work out well. So rotate this all around till we're this way. And that's how it'll stay for the time being. All right, time to sit down and move on down. Should have brought a drink with me. This is a little bit tiring. All right, so first things first, we're going to fix up the front fins, I think, first. So bring this out without it hopefully pegging. Bring this up and they plug back in together. Bring this out, plug in together, and they can stay how they are. Probably going to have to move that anyway. We're going to flip these pieces out. We're going to flip all this out, and that's going to fit in. By the way, this square here fit in underneath the knee here. So same on this side. And then we're going to rotate the hips. Actually, we'll rotate the feet to make us a little bit easier. So till it's full 360, like so. Now, you will have trouble in a minute if you do not have your thighs straight. So right now, I've got them pretty straight. There is it? This piece here. So this is going to be your indicator. So if you've got, when you get into robot mode, these line up, you've got the legs straight on in robot mode. But what you're going to have to do is turn them 90 degrees, and you want these great pieces here in line with that, as close as you can, so it looks like it's straight. So that way, when you collapse, you want to bring this up, and you want to bring the foot up one, so when it collapses underneath, there's enough room that you can collapse the rest of the foot up against it. If that is not straight on, these are going to start untabbing. All right, so we're going to rotate if my arm's not in the way. And as you can see there, if I can get it aimed properly, you can see here that is not aligned properly. So give a little bend and a tweak. That should be about right. Bring the foot up one. I apologize for focus. Bring that up. Get that arm out of the way. Bring that up. Bring the foot up. And then collapse all that. And hopefully the feet will compress each other. Okay, then we want to tab that in. Tab all that in. So if there is a gap here, that is why you haven't got the legs straight. All right, I'm going to lift that up a bit. All right, so let's do this backpack piece. We're going to fold that up. Not that you saw much of it. You're going to pull down and try not to pull the command center out. You're going to flip all that. And then the plastic here will sort of fit in here to fill in the groove. And then there's tabs down here that will go into ports on either side. So as long as everything lines up properly, you should be right. Just give it a good hard squeeze. All right. Now we can probably go up. Oh. Zip. Oh, those are really shaky. Try that again. Apologize for anyone getting motion sickness. All right, so we're going to pull this out. We're going to flip this down, and that's just going to go sort of over the top, just sort of fiddle with it until it's roughly in place. I'm going to come over here, and we're going to untab that. I forgot to mention there's ports here, which tab in the back here. And before we do anything else, we're going to rotate now this top piece so that this is all around the other side. So there was our original back, and there was our original waist, and now here's where our back is, and waist is up here. All right, so then what we're going to do is we want to bring these down a little bit at the elbows, just so we can go to the starting point. We're going to pull the chest piece through the gap. So all this will somewhat line up. There is a tab here, or whatever you want to call it, which is supposed to go in the back. It just sort of rests underneath the front there. You can give it a push down if need be. So then all this, there's two tabs here. There's ports along here. They're going to go into that. You have peg here and peg here that will go in vice versa tabs. So as long as your waist is right, you should be able to easily compress your entire shoulder section. And that is the most sturdiest part of this vehicle, is that arm section. Once you have all this done, you could probably use a part separator, which I probably should have done. Would be more easy to get all this undone. So then we have these last two pieces here to fill it out. It's going to sort of go under, and there's peg here, port here, and providing things don't pop off, just sort of finagle them until they're roughly in the right spot and press together. You might have to squeeze them from both sides. Now, as you can see, that canopy is not going to move. It's not coming in or out. And there we go. And we're almost done. Just down a little bit. Just down a little bit. See if I can get it to go. We just got to fix up these wings. So just out and around. Out and around. Flip out these pieces so they're straight. Flip out these pieces till they're straight. Just notice there's a bit of a gap there, so it's not quite closed. And then I'm going to split this piece here just for this time, because I don't need it where I have her displayed. And there we go. She is back in her robots, her vehicle mode. So holy Christ. Honestly, it's more of an effort. I just noticed I'm going to gap back here. Like my tail. There we go. Need to be a bit closed a bit more. There's also a little bit here, but I think that's just my panel itself. But like I said, she's a little bit more awkward with me doing it on camera than what it is in hand, because I don't have a camera or having to walk between things to actually transform her. So it is easier in hand. It does help to have some room. If you're doing this on your armchair or your couch or something, you will find this a little difficult, but it is doable. Also, one other thing I want to point out, I'll do it while she's in this mode. Is it just me? Now I'll try to aim her guns forward a bit better. That looks like a face. Eyes, nose, mouth. It's like looking at, I can't remember what the GoBot's command center's name was. I'm sure it had a specific name, but when you turned it into base mode, it had a face on it, and this is just giving me that vibe, which is kind of weird. It's a little bit weird. So there we go. So I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the robot mode. I would have been perfectly happy if this was just a playset in a ship mode. So it is what it is. Transformers have to transform. Simple as that. So I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed that it transforms. I'm not a huge fan of the way the proportions. I'm not a huge fan of the way the robot mode looks, but the colors look amazing. The ship mode looks amazing and can be displayed in at least three different ways. You can have it laid flat here. You can get something and put it under here like I did at the start. So you can have the extended tail fin. In my case, I have her standing up. So it looks like she's about to launch. So there's that. So she is a nice big piece, and she is a little expensive, but it's what you can expect for a Titan class figure, honestly. So yeah, not much more I can say, but if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of a Legacy Titan class Nemesis. Is she going to be your new favorite? Maybe even tell me what you think about the fact that they made it the first Titan female. Once again, take that for what it's worth. I don't care if they're male or female. Admittedly, my brain just works to say almost Transformers are male. They've proved me wrong in the last 20, 30 years. But probably was about time we got a female Titan. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.